a National Merit Award for over 200 great viewings he did for CIA, National Security Council, FBI, I mean, you name it. So anyway, that grew into a whole industry.
This episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. If you're anything like me, you love your dog. You want what's best for your furry pal, but figuring out what that is can be a real headache. There's a lot of misinformation out there, especially around dog food. Take kibble, for example. Almost everyone has probably fed their dog kibble at some point. But if you do a little digging, you may find out how ultra-processed it is. Luckily, there's a better option for you out there. Real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body, like the Farmer's Dog. They make fresh food that's so simple. No magical or miracle recipes, just meat and vegetables, lightly cooked, complete and balanced for your dog's needs. And it's all developed by board-certified nutritionists with the same safety standards as our food. When you make the switch, you'll see a massive impact. It can help your dogs be healthier, happier, and more energetic. And unlike kibble, which comes in a giant bag with vague serving suggestions, the Farmer's Dog food is delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It makes it easy to help them maintain their ideal weight, which is one of the biggest predictors of a longer, healthier life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating overly processed foods for every meal. And it doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. So this is still kind of a mystery even to you. Even someone who has studied this for this long, you know that it works, but you're not exactly sure how it's working. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. I mean, when we, as physicists, we hate to say, oh, don't have a clue. So, well, we now know there's so-called quantum entanglement, which is that things seem to be connected at a quantum level across great distances. And so the easy answer is, well, it must be quantum entanglement. But, that's just words. It doesn't really tell us how it works. But to give you an example, we wondered how far you could go. So we did an experiment, again, with Ingo Swann, who is such a really top-level remote viewer, to view Jupiter, planet Jupiter, before the flyby, before the NASA flyby. And so he did, and he described Jupiter the way anybody might, red spot and all that kind of stuff. But he said, but there's a thin ring around Jupiter. I wonder if I went to Saturn by mistake, but I really see a ring around Jupiter. Nobody knew about any ring around Jupiter. Carl Sagan happened to come by in the lab and said, "Oh, what do you think of this? We got this result." He said, "Ring around Jupiter? That's nonsense. There's no." But when the NASA flyby finally got there, it turned out there was a small ring around Jupiter, and so we got that in publication in a book we wrote about all this stuff before it was known in the scientific community. So that's what we find out, that apparently even distances is not a big deal. The other thing we wondered, I can tell you what it isn't.
Okay.
We thought maybe it was brainwaves. The Russians came up with an idea of, well, brainwaves, low frequency, long wavelength, they can seemingly get through some aspects of the environment. So we came up with a series of experiments, and one of them was, okay, let's put our remote viewers on submarines, take them into the depths of the ocean, because it turns out seawater is highly conductive, and so even at low frequencies, even at brainwave frequencies, it would be a complete shield for that. So we we piggybacked on somebody else's experiments, Stephen Schwartz's experiments using remote viewers to go find archaeological wrecks and shipwrecks and so on, which turned out to eventually be a successful experiment. But anyway, we got to do 2 experiments. We got pristine results, even with them under the ocean water. So we know it's not ordinary electromagnetic functioning. So we can strike one thing off the list. Not that we know what to put on the list in its place, other than, it's got to be some new field, some quantum aspect that we don't understand yet.
We don't understand, but yet you could repeat it.
But we could repeat it.
Wow.
Now, I'll give you another example of the skepticism that we got. And by the way, I can't blame them. We had some psychologists at SRI, and they said, you've got that stupid ESP experiment stuff going on, and this is going to ruin our reputation. People think that we're a nonsense place, and so it's hurting our reputation. Of course, they didn't know it was a highly classified CIA program. So anyway, so our director said, "Well, what do you think? I mean, how would you know if this is false or whatever?" And he said, "Look, make a list of all experiments, places that have been gone to as targets, and then give us the transcripts that were generated for those viewings, and don't tell us which ones go with which ones, and we'll try to rank them for each place." And so they did that. Much to their chagrin, 7 of the 9 were first-place matches in a 9-experiment series. Give you another example of and by the way, I can't complain about